An 81-year-old woman left a comment under a self-defense video that got almost 600 likes. She said she'd carried concealed for years. But the part that hit the hardest wasn't the gun. It was this. When I can't legally have a firearm, I always happen to have a Phillips screwdriver within hand's reach. She didn't say it like a joke. She said it like a woman who had been an assault victim, who swore she would never be helpless again, and who had spent decades keeping that promise. 600 people understood exactly what she meant, because when you're 81 and someone comes through that door, you are not calling a timeout. You are not outrunning anyone. You are reaching for whatever is closest, and you are fighting with everything physics will give you. I'm Max, and today on Outfox Apocalypse, we're talking about home defense when you cannot run. And if you're 45 and about to click away, the CDC says over 800,000 Americans get hospitalized every year for injuries that put them on crutches or in a chair for weeks. A blown-out ACL at 42, back surgery at 48, bed rest at 39. Reduced mobility doesn't wait until 70. It can happen Tuesday. So, whether you're 81 with arthritis or 46 recovering from knee surgery, this is for you. This is for everyone who has ever been the slowest person in the house. When your knees are shot, when your hands have turned into weather stations, when you use a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, or when you can't get out of bed without help. There are videos on YouTube with millions of views about self-defense for seniors, and most of them show you 3 strikes and say good luck. Nobody tells you what to do when you physically cannot stand up, or grip a weapon, or move to the next room. That's what we're doing today. 4 tiers of mobility, specific weapons for each one. The physics of why a 67-year-old widowed woman living alone in the country is not as helpless as she thinks. And I'm going to prove it with numbers, not feelings. Let's start with the one thing every self-defense instructor agrees on, but most of them don't explain well enough. Force equals mass times acceleration. Every fighting system in history is built on this equation. A properly placed strike from an untrained person can be devastating, not because they're strong, but because they understood where to aim and how to accelerate. That equation does not care how old you are. It does not care if your hip was replaced in 2019. It does not ask about your cardio. All it asks is, can you accelerate a mass into a target? And the answer for every single person watching this is yes. Let me show you why. A closed fist concentrates all your force into 4 small knuckle points. Sounds powerful, right? Except at 65, those knuckle joints are often the weakest part of your body. A man wrote that he broke his hand punching an immovable object at 65. A 70-year-old retired bouncer showed the scars on his knuckles where people's teeth had cut him open over the years. An open palm strike spreads force over a much larger area, 0 broken fingers. And here's the legal bonus. In court, a jury hears. I pushed him away with my open hand, and that sounds a lot different than I punched him. 306 people liked that observation. Because physics and the legal system agree on this one, palm strikes win for anyone over 60. Now here's where it gets interesting. Throat, eyes, groin. These are equalizer targets. A 240-pound man has the same eyes as a 120-pound woman. His throat is no more reinforced than yours. His groin does not have armor plating. The Krav Maga system was built on exactly this principle. You don't need to be stronger. You need to be more precise. And precision does not require legs that work. Let's walk through the 4 tiers. Tier 1. You can stand, but you're limited. Bad knees. Arthritis in the hips. Maybe you had surgery and you're still recovering. You can move around the house, but if someone kicks in your door at 2 in the morning, you are not sprinting to the safe room. This is the largest group watching right now, and your advantage is that you still have gravity on your side. A palm strike to the chin from a standing position uses your entire body weight dropping through your arm. You don't need to be fast. You need to be first. The military calls it the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. You have seconds, not minutes, between recognizing a threat and the attack itself. In those seconds, your brain is going to flood with adrenaline. Your vision narrows. Your fine motor skills vanish. That's why you practice one move, not 7. Hick's law says the more options you give yourself under stress, the slower you react. One move. Palm strike, chin or throat. Practice it 10 minutes a day until your body does it without your brain's permission. That's muscle memory. That's your insurance policy. Your weapon kit at this tier. This is not the full list. I'm doing an entire video on self-defense tools ranked by price, and another one on improvised weapons from your kitchen. Today, I'm giving you the essentials. For $0, you already have a Phillips screwdriver, a heavy flashlight, your car keys, and a fire extinguisher. That screwdriver the 81-year-old carries, it's not a joke. It's a focused point impact tool that fits in a pocket and never runs out of batteries. A heavy metal flashlight does double duty. You blind the intruder first. 300 lumens in the eyes buys you 3 to 5 seconds of total disorientation. Then you use the body of the flashlight as a striking tool. And that fire extinguisher in your kitchen? Aim it at the face. The blast covers a group, not just one person. It blinds, it chokes, it disorients, and then you have a 10-pound metal cylinder to swing. $0. Already in your house. Now let me bust a myth that might save your life. Someone in my comments, and in a lot of other places, recommended Wasp spray for self-defense. $3.50 at Walmart. Shoots 20 feet. Sounds great. Here's the problem. It doesn't work. Wasp spray contains pyrethroids at a concentration of 0.04%. That's designed to shut down a half-gram insect's nervous system, not a 200-pound human's. The active ingredients target insect neurology, not mammalian pain receptors. Independent testing calls the effect on human eyes minimally irritating. And it's water-based. An attacker can blink it out in seconds. Pepper spray is oil-based. It bonds to skin. You cannot wash it off with water. That's the difference between science and a myth your neighbor shared on Facebook. But here's the part that really matters. Using wasp spray on a human is a violation of federal law. Every single can says it. It is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with its labeling. It's regulated as a pesticide under FIFRA. If you spray an intruder with it, you could face federal charges and lose your self-defense claim in court. A person who used legal pepper spray gets castle doctrine protection. A person who used wasp spray gets a prosecutor asking why they deployed an unregistered pesticide as a weapon. Same situation. Opposite outcomes. Don't trust the myth, trust the chemistry. What does work? For $10 to $15, pepper gel. Not pepper spray, pepper gel, or pepper foam. Gel sticks to the face, minimal blowback, works indoors even if you have COPD or asthma. Now, in my last video about the 7 systems, I recommended bear spray as a last resort defense tool. And it is effective, extremely effective. It's cheap, it's powerful, and as a final argument, when someone is coming through your door, it works. But some of you didn't catch the fine print. Bear spray is an aerosol. You absolutely cannot use it indoors. It fills the entire room, and your lungs don't know the difference between your spray and his spray. It's also not fully legal in every state. I'm not telling you to use it. I'm telling you it exists, it works outdoors or in a doorway as a last stand, and you need to understand the consequences before you reach for it. Indoors, pepper gel. Gel goes where you point it. And pepper foam has a bonus, marking dye. The foam leaves a colored stain on the attacker's face that only comes off with a special solvent. When police arrive and find a man with purple dye all over his face 3 blocks away, your case just got a lot simpler. Sabre makes a home defense model with a wall mount that shoots up to 18 feet, about $20. Legal in all 50 states. That's what you put in every room, not Wasp spray. One more technique for this tier that comes straight from former special forces. It's called the controlled fall. If someone grabs you and you know you cannot fight back physically, drop deliberately. Curl into a ball, protect your head with your arms, and scream. A controlled fall is far safer than being thrown to the ground by an attacker. You go down on your terms, at your speed, protecting your head. The scream does two things. It attracts attention, and it triggers a flinch response in the attacker. A whistle is even better. A 120 decibel whistle costs $2 and carries further than any human voice. And a quick note, I have not talked about firearms yet. That's deliberate. Firearms for seniors who can't rack a standard slide, who have arthritis, who need easy-to-handle calibers. That's an entire video on its own. It's coming. Today is about what you can do with what's already in your house, or what you can buy for under $20. Now here's a cliffhanger for you. Everything I just described assumes you can stand up and swing. But what happens when the thing keeping you upright is also the most dangerous weapon in the room? Tier 2. Cane and walker dependent. A retired law enforcement officer with knee problems wrote this. These cane defense videos made me confident in my ability to protect myself without a firearm. 93 people agreed with him. And a man named Ed, who just called himself Old Guy, said something I haven't been able to forget. I can't run from trouble. I have to turn and face it. 15 people like that. It should have been 15,000. Here's what nobody tells you about your walking cane. It is a 3-foot lever arm. When you snap your wrist at the handle end, physics multiplies that motion at the tip. The tip of a properly swung cane moves far faster than the hand, the same lever arm principle that gives a bullwhip its speed. You don't need to be strong, you need to understand leverage, and a cane gives you more leverage per dollar than any weapon on the market. A hickory cane costs $15 at a medical supply store. One company charges $455 for what is essentially the same stick with a logo on it. 11 people in the comments called that insane, and they were right. $15. Hickory. It will not break. 3 strikes from a cane that change everything. 1. Horizontal sweep to the knee. Below the waist, hard to block, and a damaged knee means the attacker cannot chase you. 2. Thrust to the solar plexus. You're using the cane like a short spear, both hands, straight forward. This works from a walker too. Plant the walker, grab the cane, thrust. 3. Hook behind the ankle and pull. Your cane has a curved handle for a reason. It's a hooking tool. Hook the ankle, pull toward you, and the attacker goes down. The same hooking principle is used in martial arts takedowns worldwide. You don't need to hit hard, you need to hit smart. The cane is legal everywhere. Airports, courthouses, government buildings. No security guard in history has confiscated a medical walking cane. It is the most underestimated weapon on the planet. And I'm going to do an entire video just on cane combat, the physics of leverage, 3 more strikes, and why a $15 hickory stick outperforms $400 tactical canes. Stay tuned for that one. Here's something else the books teach that nobody puts in videos. The umbrella. A steel-tipped umbrella is a thrusting weapon you can carry anywhere, and the pointed end reaches targets a fist never could. A belt with a heavy brass buckle swings like a flail, one whip to the face, and any attacker flinches. Even a fake wallet works. Toss a decoy with a few old cards and $60 in small bills. The attacker goes for it, and you buy 5 seconds to get behind a locked door. These are techniques from actual self-defense manuals, not YouTube theories. If you use a walker, your walker is a battering ram and a shield. Put it between you and the threat. Stainless steel frame versus human shins. Physics picks the steel every time. Push forward. Those front wheels become force multipliers on a hard floor. Let me pause here and recap what we've covered so far. Tier 1. If you can stand but you're slow, your weapons are the palm strike, a flashlight, pepper gel in every room, and the controlled fall when all else fails. Tier 2. If you use a cane or walker, your mobility aid is the weapon, and $15 of hickory gives you a force multiplier that's legal on an airplane. Now let's talk about the people everybody else ignores. Tier 3. Wheelchair. Someone wrote this under a self-defense video. You're not out of the game. The game has just changed. And a 59-year-old disabled veteran replied, "You have no idea how much I needed to hear that today." 235 people liked that exchange. Because there are millions of Americans in wheelchairs who have been told, either directly or through silence, that self-defense doesn't apply to them. That is a lie, and physics proves it. When you're seated, you have a lower center of gravity than any standing attacker. That is not a weakness. In judo, a lower center of gravity is an advantage for pulling, tripping, and unbalancing opponents. If someone grabs you from the front, you grab their shirt, their belt, their arm, and you pull down. Gravity is already on your side. They are top-heavy. You are anchored. Force equals mass times acceleration still works, and your chair provides the mass. From a wheelchair, the palm strike still works. The elbow strike actually works better. In a close confrontation, your elbow is at the attacker's groin or thigh level. An elbow driven into soft tissue with your entire upper body rotating behind it will stop anyone. Your weapon kit from a wheelchair. Mount a flashlight on the chair arm. 300 plus lumens, always within reach. Velcro a can of pepper foam to the side of the chair. And here's an improvised weapon nobody talks about. A dowel rod, a kitchen knife, and 20 wraps of duct tape. That's a spear, 5 feet long. The attacker cannot reach you because you've just extended your defensive perimeter by 4 feet. Someone posted that DIY tip, and it got 19 likes. 19 people in wheelchairs, or caring for someone in a wheelchair, thought I can build that right now for $0. A baseball bat works differently from a chair. You can't do a full overhead swing, but you can do a thrust. Hold the bat with both hands, the fat end forward, and ram it straight into the attacker's midsection. Short, brutal, effective. And here's the dark humor the pack appreciates. Most intruders are not expecting resistance from a wheelchair. That's their mistake. I've heard of home intruders who picked an easy target and discovered that the 72-year-old in the chair had 30 years of combat experience and a Glock on a hip mount. Surprise is a weapon too, and you have more of it than anyone standing. And here's the thing about wheelchair defense that nobody says out loud. The best fight is the one that never happens. Your home should do most of the fighting for you. Reinforced doors, hardened windows, motion sensors, layered barriers. I'm building an entire video on home fortification, how to turn any house or apartment into a fortress for under $50. Because the strongest self-defense move a wheelchair user can make is making sure nobody gets through that front door in the first place. If this kind of content matters to you, the kind nobody else makes, for the people nobody else sees, subscribe. I don't sell supplements. I don't run ads for tactical garbage. I just analyze what the system ignores. And the pack shares what we learn. That's how we survive. Tier 4. Bedbound or primarily seated. This is the tier that makes content creators uncomfortable. Because how do you teach self-defense to someone who cannot get out of bed? Here's how. You don't teach them to fight. You teach them to make fighting unnecessary. Layer 1. Time. A door wedge alarm costs $10 to $15. Wedge it under your bedroom door at night. If someone pushes that door open, a 120 decibel siren goes off. That's louder than a chainsaw at 3 feet. It buys you 15 to 30 seconds, and it tells the entire neighborhood something is wrong. Stack that with a regular door lock, and you've created a 2-barrier system for under $10. But here's the safety warning nobody mentions. Think twice before you permanently block your own door. If you have a medical emergency at 3 in the morning, that same wedge that keeps an intruder out also keeps paramedics out. Also keeps your family out. My advice? Tie a short cord or a piece of paracord to the wedge and run it to your bed. That way, you can yank it free with one hand from where you're lying. Security that you can undo in 2 seconds. Because the goal is control, not a trap, for either side of the door. Layer 2. Communication and surveillance. When you can't move fast, information becomes your greatest weapon. We're not playing Rambo here. We're taking precautions, making smart decisions, and staying hidden. A cell phone on the nightstand is obvious. But before we get to the phone, install a couple of cheap Wi-Fi cameras with phone access. $30 to $40 each. Wise, Blink, or any budget brand. Point one at your front door, one at your back. Now you can see who's outside without leaving your bed. You can record evidence. You can make a decision, call for help, stay quiet, or prepare, based on information, not panic. That's how a person with limited mobility takes control of a situation. Not by fighting, by knowing. And here's something worth knowing. A retired firefighter once shared this. Your local fire station may be physically closer than the police precinct, and fire trucks respond fast. If you call 911, tell them everything. The dispatcher routes the right people. But know your local response times. In some areas, fire is 4 minutes, police is 11. That's not a recommendation, it's information. And when you're lying in bed watching a camera feed, information is everything. Layer 3. Weapons within arm's reach. A bed-bound person should have 3 things on the nightstand or mounted to the bed rail. A tactical flashlight, always. Pepper foam, always. And a personal alarm, a $5 keychain that screams at 120 decibels when you pull the pin. If you can press a button, you can defend yourself. Now, for those who are bed-bound but have upper body strength, the physics still apply. A palm strike from a lying position uses the same mechanics. Drive through the heel of the hand into the chin or throat. An attacker leaning over a bed has given you the perfect angle for a throat strike. Their weight is forward, their balance is compromised, and you have the element of surprise because they expected a victim, not a fighter. And here's the international comparison that puts all of this in perspective. In Canada, a 75-year-old man carries a 20-inch steel dog chain because self-defense tools are illegal where he lives. He's been carrying it since 1980. Hundreds of people reacted to that comment. In parts of the UK, someone commented that the police told them not to hit the intruder too hard. In some Canadian provinces, defending your home with force can cost you $100,000 in legal fees. Meanwhile, in Texas, castle doctrine means your home is exactly that, your castle. Same action, 2 different countries, wildly different consequences. Whatever country you're in, know your laws. But also know this, a walking cane is legal everywhere on Earth. A flashlight is legal everywhere on Earth. A door wedge alarm is legal everywhere on Earth. Physics does not have a jurisdiction. Let me tell you about something the military calls the Tweller drill. An attacker with a knife standing 21 feet away can close that distance in 1.5 seconds. That's the time it takes a trained police officer to draw and fire from a holster. Now think about that. If you're 70 with arthritis and someone is 21 feet away with a knife, 1.5 seconds is not enough. You might need 30 feet, maybe 40. Which means your real defense started before the fight. It started when you put that door wedge under the bedroom door. It started when you positioned pepper gel in the hallway. It started when you installed a $5 motion sensor light that killed his darkness advantage. And here's something a retired cop shared in a comment that got almost 500 likes. Put up beware of dog signs. Even if you don't have a dog, 26 years of law enforcement taught him that most criminals make a decision in seconds. A barking sound, even a recording, and a beware of dog sign will send the average intruder to the next house. The fight you never have to fight is the one you already won. Now for the part nobody wants to talk about, but everyone needs to hear. An Army infantry veteran posted a training method that got 862 likes, one of the most liked tips I've ever seen in a home defense comment section. He said, "Exercise to fatigue, then practice drawing and shooting." Because in a real home invasion, your heart rate is 175, your hands are shaking, and your fine motor skills are gone. If you've only ever practiced shooting from a calm, rested position, you have never actually practiced. For those of you in wheelchairs or with heart conditions, adapt this. Do chair sit stands until your arms are trembling. Then try to dial 911. Try to work your flashlight. Try to aim your pepper foam. Train under stress, because stress is coming whether you trained for it or not. Bottom line. Here's your checklist. 5 things to do before you close this video. First, put a can of pepper gel in every room, about $20 each. Saber home defense model. Do it today. Not Wasp spray. That's a myth that could land you in federal court. Pepper gel. Second, if you use a cane, learn 3 strikes. Knee, solar plexus, ankle hook. Practice them 10 minutes a day. A $15 hickory cane is all you need. Third, install a door wedge alarm on your bedroom door with a cord attached so you can pull it free from your bed. $10 to $15, 120 decibels. Fourth, put a flashlight, pepper foam, and a personal alarm within arm's reach of wherever you sleep. Not in a drawer, on the surface, ready. Fifth, tell someone your plan, a neighbor, a family member, anyone. Because the pack doesn't survive alone. We survive because we share what we know. This video is the first in a series. We're going deep on home defense, every angle, every budget, every body. Firearms for seniors, legal weapons ranked state by state, window hardening, door reinforcement, cane combat. What to say to police after you defend yourself. Castle doctrine, what your state actually allows. All of it is coming. The pack builds its fortress one brick at a time. Someone wrote a comment that I keep coming back to. A 67-year-old disabled woman, recently widowed, living alone in the country. She said, "This will at least give me a chance." 127 people felt that in their chest. And I want her and everyone like her to know it's not at least a chance. Force equals mass times acceleration. A 3-foot hickory lever arm with a wrist snap generates more tip velocity than most people can create with a punch. A $5 alarm screams louder than any human voice. $20 of pepper gel reaches 18 feet, and it's legal in all 50 states. You are not helpless. You are not out of the game. The game changed, and today you changed with it. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Laws vary by state and country. What's legal in Texas may put you in prison in New Jersey. Always check your local laws before purchasing, carrying, or using any self-defense tool. And always consult a qualified attorney before making decisions about lethal force. I'm a fox with a physics degree, not a lawyer. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Stay safe. Max out.